Hello, welcome to Loremaster's Lair. I'm your Loremaster, here today to continue our look at Tian Xia with our second look at a deity. Well, a deity we have a full write-up for. Me and have been sprinkling in deities and countries and other tidbits where I can. But anyway, today we'll be talking about Tsukiyo, god of the moon, jade, and spirits. Let's get started. First, as always, where is it that you yourself can find the inconsistent light of the moon through your own research? First edition had the basic information in the Tian Xia books, while 2E included him in gods and magic. We gain more information with the waxing moon, shedding light within the faiths of Galorian, and we see the home of the deity in Plain Adventures. But for full understanding of the deity, our side tangents all come from the Tian Xia books of 1E. Well, most of them, but we'll get there in the end. Tsukiyo, once upon a time, spent much time with the Heavenly Court, much time fighting evil, much time with his lover Shizuru. However, this all caused jealousy to bloom in the heart of his brother, Fumiyoshi. So his brother struck him down, leaving scars so deep the moon will forever be marked, slaying Tsukiyo. However, Rabbit informed Shizuru, and she convinced the god King Zong to bring the dead deity back to life, though with scars that will never heal. Which brings us to our first side tangent, the part of the show where family is the enemies you're born with. This week we start with Fumiyoshi, the Lord of Envy. He appears as an almost skeletal form, tusks long and with a third eye. Originally the god of night, standing beside his brother the moon, he grew jealous of the perfect romance his brother had and slew him. However, he was stripped of his position upon his brother's resurrection, forced to spend all eternity within his brother's grave. Now patron to Oni, the undead, and dishonored samurai, people work to placate him to ensure their relatives stay safely in their graves. Tsukiyo is kind of a loner, so he does not appear as often as many other deities do. When he does, he appears as a Tian Min man, dressed in green robes woven with jade. His age changes with the shifting of the moon, but his long silver hair and gentle smile are constant. And in addition, he wields a spear made out of moonlight itself. When he came back, Tsukiyo found himself changed. He still loves Shizuru, but found himself one in need of solitude, of separation, and wandering. Which Shizuru understands, and still loves him even when he is far away. However, this new perspective found itself to be a boon, because Tsukiyo found himself able to empathize with those who were like he now was, those whose mental states were not normal, whatever that word actually means. With this new perspective, the faith of Tsukiyo began flourishing as one where those who do not belong anywhere could find some form of peace. Many of the followers of Tsukiyo are those who do not find a place in a town, instead traveling like their patron and his symbol, the moon. This, of course, gives him a large number of naturalistic followers who are looking for a stronger set of morals than just the cycles of nature. The faith also focuses on self-reflection and introspection like the Prince of the Moon, but also a welcoming faith, as Tsukiyo's faith specifically creates space and adapts it to people whose minds are different from others, whether neurodivergency, mental illness, learning disability. Even those who are left-handed, whatever gets one demonized by the broad society, gives them a reason to be embraced by Tsukiyo's loving arms. Which brings us to a second side tangent. With his resurrection, Tsukiyo became, in essence, a samsaren, one of the upcoming ancestries to be reintroduced. So let's talk a bit about them in preparation. Samsarans are humanoids with blue skin and no pupils. Even their blood is crystal clear. Connected to the cycle of life and death more closely than most creatures, Samsarans are able to remember in a dreamlike state their past lives, getting more information from the past than most resurrected beings. Unless, of course, it was magical resurrection, but let's focus on the natural and supernatural, no true resurrections here. They work to retain harmony, knowing the consequences of their actions will extend not just for one lifetime, but multiple. Of course, in the end, they too will one day reach Pharasma, but it is a slow walk for their kind. The faith for Tsukiyo has no centralized hierarchy, instead using tradition as a guide. These tend to work alone or in small groups, and considering Tsukiyo is himself a deity who prefers helping in the micro as opposed to some large-scale deities, small groups work perfectly for him. It is common for priests to act as a counselor, helping those unfulfilled psychologically or spiritually. They work to eliminate any affliction from the outside, but provide support and respect for those whose differences are natural and their own. They also commonly work as morticians and often walk through graveyards to see early signs of supernatural disturbances, especially those that lead to spirits as opposed to corporal undead. Another thing common across all of them, however, is travel, and they rarely stay in the same community for more than a few months. Many temples of Tsukiyo are shared with Shizuru, sharing the same resources and symbolism. Each of these are different, but the standard formation has Tsukiyo section to be the smaller one, and on the side less likely to get direct sunlight. Another mark of Tsukiyo's temples are openings so one can see the moon, and quiet rooms where those who need peace can get it. In more rural areas where Tsukiyo has his own shrines, they sit in places where one can find themselves seclusion, so that they can focus on what's up here. Both the realm of Tsukiyo and Shizuru are found on the third tier of heaven, Clarion, but on opposite sides of the mountain. The grove of green shadows is made of a forest of jade trees, hiding various isolated homes where one can find seclusion. Tsukiyo's own home is a temple of marble and mithril, standing at the approximate center, but the deity prefers travel and is often away. Since we are beginning to wind down, let's take a moment to look at our third side tangent of the day. Jade. That's right. Real world topic side tangent. When is the last time I have done one of these? Either way, jade is a gemstone created from one of two minerals, nephrite and jadeite. They're typically thought of as green, but can be white, yellow, orange, brown, lavender, or even black. What we want to talk about, however, is cultural significance. With jade found in Asia and Mesoamerica, both gave the stone great reverence, comparable to Europe's obsession with diamonds and gold. China claimed it had the power to chase away negative emotions and would enrich the wearer. There were even some who had themselves buried in suits made of pure jade. The Maya, in turn, associated it with nobility and the sun, which we all know how important the sun was in Mesoamerica. The Maori, too, had access to jade, and they considered it and other green stones the greatest of treasures. On to the more general information. Tsukiyo's faith is strongest in Minkai, Goka, and Jonin, all places where his faith is paired with Shizuru's. When on his own, his faith finds hold in isolated mountains, in Zihan, in Tanjin, and in the Wall of Heaven. And, while having less mountains, also in the isolated jungles of Nagadra his faith can be found. Tsukiyo's holy text is the Tears of Jade, a collection of 28 parables formed together in a single book, meant to be reflected on for each day of the lunar cycle. For holidays, every eclipse is a celebration as the two lovers are temporarily reunited. But the holiest day is the darkest night, the last new moon before the spring equinox. Also serving as the Lunar New Year, this 3-day celebration remembers when Tsukiyo was dead, and is many of the celebrations are put into place to quell the same envy that led to the Prince of the Moon's demise. As for relationships with others, we start with the allies. Tsukiyo is a phoenix which glows with the power of moonlight. This gives her unique cold powers which she uses to calm the undead. The Dusk Ronin is the Star Archon who serves both Tsukiyo and Shizuru. I was trying to say them both at the same time apparently. Tsukiyo and Shizuru, being their daughter-in-law. She once struck her father in anger for his absence, and as an exile works to find a penance. The Lady of the Green Crescent is Tsukiyo's herald, the rabbit who informed others of the dead prince. As a ward, he was elevated to a Kirin, body of jade and with some rabbit features still sticking around. As for allies, it does not need to be said that closeness, he is the closest with Shizuru. He gets along well with Kizong for healing him, but when it comes to the treatment of those with different mentalities, the alchemist god thinks he can fix anything, even that which is not broken. His calming spirit has him as a close ally with Pharasma, and his knowledge of many secrets has him close to Nili Nivati. Fumiyoshi still plots against his brother, which leaves mixed feelings in Tsukiyo, as does the protection he gains from Yazing, which is matched with his distaste of the god's harsh punishments. Ending off with one final side tangent, we made a short list of sun gods in the past. I believe in one of my Sanray videos, I can't remember which one. Moon gods have been less popular to this point. So let's take a moment to look at them. Akavna was an Aslantian deity. One of the two gave their lives to not let Earthfall destroy the entire planet. Cataphys is another moon deity that was given a full write-up that I will get to one day, but what I will say now is that he is one of the many elfin deities, who is also the deity of the hunt. Thoth is an Osirian deity, an old deity of magic, wisdom, and writing, who also held strong connections to the moon because of legends of him making additional days at the end of the year by bedding daylight and moonlight with the moon. For cooler deities of the moon, I mentioned Giselda, the demon lord of werewolves, in my werewolf video, and Apuk is an Arcadian deity, enemy of Kazutal, and kind of ahead of the Shakil. At least he has many Shakil denizens with him in Xibalba, and has over the years created monsters like the cursed flamed lizard, who I'm going to butcher the name of, Kutzmanquali. That actually sounded half decent. Kutzmanquali. And that is today's video. Side note, Tsukiyo is currently my favorite of the Tian deities. It might change when the Tian book does come out next month now, isn't it? However, the god of mental health is going to be a hard peak to beat. Either way, we only have Shizuru for deities, but she is next month. This month, we are going to be getting philosophical. See you then.